as with any NHS, they want more from the dentists for less money. And I think they want dentists earning less money, because I don't see how they can pay for it, you know? And dentists themselves don't go to university for 6 years to come out and earn a fairly average wage. They need to. That's probably why one of the reasons why they did dentistry was because the stress is high, but the pay is good.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Hive 5, and I'm pleased to be here with Stephen Keane from the Essex Smile Centre, which is one of the largest single-site dental practices in the UK. So welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Ross.
It's all right, no worries at all. Well, perhaps to kick things off, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, if that's okay.
Well, I'm Stephen. I run a practice in Essex with my brother Declan. We've owned it since 2004, and we bought it off our father, who had established it in 1968.
Wow.
So yeah, a long time, over 50 years now that's been there. So I'm treating people now in their 60s who went there as children.
Wow.
So, yeah, and we took it over as a 3 surgery practice, and we made it into a 7 surgery machine.
Wow. When did you lift it to the 7 surgeries then?
2018.
Yeah. I remember you were considering putting a seriously large extension on the site, weren't you? But I think we steered away from that.
Well, when we found out what the cost was going to be,
yeah,
for not a very actually large piece of, land really.
Yeah.
It was like 7 by 7. 7 meters by 7 meters, or 7 by 5, and it was going to cost, in excess of 650,000. And I think you said that's a lot of dentistry you've got to do for 650,000, especially if we were going to get a loan from the bank. So
yeah,
we rejigged the internal parts of the practice and managed to squeeze out a 7th surgery.
Flows lovely now, to be fair, doesn't it?
It does. And we moved the office out of the practice, so incoming calls and queries and all the admin, the finance, that all gets done now across the road.
Yeah.
And so that gave us all the space that we required to get that little surgery in there. So
great stuff. So are you mixed practice, private practice? How do you define yourself?
We're proper mixed. So we're Den Plan, we're private pay as you go, and we've also got a small NHS contract, small to medium NHS contract. So yeah, we
I think that's now less than 20%, if memory serves, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's probably less than that now, actually.
How's that going? How's that going in a post-pandemic world?
What, the NHS?
Yeah.
I mean, for us, they're only getting us to do 60% at the moment. And actually, we're finding it difficult to do that, really, just because the dentists themselves, and I'll probably come on to this later, but the dentists themselves prefer to do private dentistry because they enjoy it more. So from our point of view, we probably will be able to do the 60%, but I think if it goes up to the 100% with the gaps in between the appointments, it's going to be near enough impossible to reach our targets. But we're doing a full dental service and have been. There's a lot of patients that are coming to us saying, oh, my NHS dentist won't do a crown preparation because he's not allowed to, or he's not allowed to do a root canal because he's not allowed to. We've managed to get everything in order so that we are able to do all treatments on all patients.
Fantastic. Well, may or may not link nicely with question number 2. What have been the key challenges in your career?
Key challenges in my career, probably when you leave university, is getting properly educated, really, in dentistry, because you don't have an idea. And I find it weird that a lot of kids are coming straight out of university and going straight into private dentistry. I mean, I think you need to work within something like the NHS to get an idea of what to do and what not to do. But I reckon it was, luckily I owned a practice early on, so paying for courses, I find that the associates find that very difficult because they're taking time off work and they're going to these courses which cost an arm and a leg, and they're not working. So I felt getting properly educated was one of the main challenges. Running a practice, in 2002, it was a different beast to what it is in 2021. There's a lot more red tape, so I'd imagine that the red tape for someone who's starting out is going to be difficult. And all the regulation that we have. And yeah, I suppose keeping your patients happy is another challenge, isn't it? And not having to not having too many complaints.
You've probably been kind of quite modest about how you adapted to the pandemic as well, because you barely missed a beat when you were allowed to reopen. That was early June, if memory serves correctly.
In the 8th.
You certainly hit the ground running, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, we did. We got some extraction systems put in the practice during lockdown. We made use of the time, constantly thinking about in our own standard operating procedures. And then we got these obviously extra oral suction machines from China. So our fallow time immediately was going from an hour, which is what they wanted in an unventilated room, down to 20 minutes. And within 2 months, we were down to sort of 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because of the airflow changes in our rooms, in all of our rooms of the practice, enabled us to do that. And full dental service pretty much. So
we missed a beat.
Never missed a beat. Indeed.
Did you, was that when you opened up Sundays and Saturdays as well? I can't quite remember when the Saturdays and Sundays came in, but you're certainly.
COVID enabled us to change the contracts with the PAEY staff. So because we thought we are going to have to go to Sunday trading, because we felt if we were told to keep fallow times at 20 minutes or up to half an hour, you just don't know what's around the corner. So yeah, we extended our opening hours during the week. We extended our opening hours on Saturday till 3. It was closing at 12:30 initially. And then we sowed the seed, shall we say, in June that we would be starting on a Sunday, but that didn't come into fruition until December because we got a lot of pushback.
Yeah,
I had to actually employ new staff to do the Sunday hours, specifically weekend nurses, weekend dentists, and it's worked out a treat. We now got, I think we've got, instead of 2 dentists working, we've got 2 hygienists and 3 dentists working on a Sunday now, and 9 till 1, there's call, they want to stay open until 3. But again, we're getting pushback from the admin staff, receptionists, nurses, rather than the dentists themselves. But the demand for Sunday work is out there, massive.
Demand from the patients across the...
And dentists, they want to work, because you have dentists who have wives or partners, spouses, they do their work, and so they're looking after their children during the week. And then they go out to work at the weekend.
And that's the full range of treatment modalities on a Sunday, not just a little hygiene and a checkup or anything.
No, we try and steer clear of the checkup and the hygiene only. There's no NHS at the weekends. We try, Saturdays we will see plan members, DEM plan, but Sundays we don't tend to. We sort of tend to keep it the big treatments for the dentists, so it's worth their while rather than coming in and doing the sort of piecemeal.
Wow. Well, spinning back to what, your answer to the question, I suppose, before we meandered off, but some kind of breadth of training. And, it's a big belief of ours that, there's diversity of education and input. We've got a kind of a theme in Hive along something called the T-shaped model. So you have a deep knowledge in one particular limb of what you do, but you have a broad knowledge of all the kind of component parts of your organization. And that works for us. I think it probably works, very, very good for, a general cosmetic private practice as well, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, everyone's got their thing that they like to do more than anything else. Mine's Invisalign. My brother is porcelain veneers. I've got, we've got the implant chap who is a general dentist, but he just does implants at our practice. Whether it's root canal, he's a specialist. Yeah. Periodontist for the gums. It's becoming like medicine, isn't it? You go and see a doctor. We have a couple of general dental practitioners like GPs who do a little bit of everything. Yeah. But it's becoming more and more obvious to us that you need to be really good at what you do and really concentrate on 1 or 2 things to get the results. You need to keep the patients happy.
Is there any top tip of a course that you could give to the viewers?
I've always gone on about the Chris Orr course. Richard Porter, the new kids on the block now are saying more Richard Porter, but they're very, very similar. They're just telling you what's what, and the basic knowledge of cosmetic dentistry, do's and don'ts, what bond to use, what bond not to use. Yeah. Photography is massive, and videoing. So as a base, I would always go on a year-long course like the Chris Orr Richard Porter. It's 12 months. You go in for 1 day a month. You have a lot of reading to do. And then when you go in for that day, they go over the reading, and then you normally do a hands-on practical. So that would be my first port of call if I was newly qualified now. And then get into the Invisalign. I mean, Invisalign is, it's a clear aligner system, but it's the best and easiest system to use as a dentist compared to doing fixed braces, which there's lots of fixed braces courses, or other clear aligner systems. Other clear aligner systems, they'll probably edit this, but they just don't work as well as Invisalign. They just don't. been there, done that, and got the T-shirt. And yes, it's expensive Invisalign, but if you do enough, they give you up to a 40% discount. But you need to be doing sort of 150 numbers a year on that. And then, you know, if you're interested in doing root canal, then fair enough. But for me, it doesn't really float my boat, root canal. Yeah. But everyone has their own interest.
No, that's the beauty of it. Okay. Well, how have Hive helped you on your journey, you and Declan?
Massively. Yeah, you've been brilliant. And I hope that just because we sold the practice that we're not going to part our ways. I think there's plenty more water to flow under the bridge with you guys. Brief, we had a normal dental accountant. We saw you at a couple of conferences, same faces, same places. Decided to come and talk to you because you had a banner behind you saying, would you like to pay less tax? And my brother saw that and thought, yes, we would. That's why we came to chat to you a couple of times. And then we got you over, what was it, in 2013, 14, something like that. And you approached us and said, you know, guys, I think, you know, you'd benefit from our services. And we did a diagnostic day, I think in 2014, 15.
Yeah.
Spent a day out of the practice.
I remember your dad peering over our shoulders, making sure we were doing a good job.
Yeah, in Declan's kitchen, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. And yeah, you know, you guys gave us 3 options at the end of that day with all the data that you had from us. And it was stay as you are, running a fairly successful practice. 2 was sell up, you know, reap the benefits, become an associate. Or 3 was, do you want to take it to the next level? And for us, that was a no-brainer. We immediately got an implant dentist involved doing implants at the practice, which was a game changer, really. And lots of advice from you guys regarding, you know, tax and how we run the practice and the collection of data as well. You know, you were talking to us about, you know, how much do your associates earn? How much chair time do they have? What is their hourly rate this day, that day? And we felt initially, well, what do you want all that data for? But it really helps. Took us a while to get on board. And then we did another diagnostic day in 2018, wasn't it? 18, 19.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we decided that we would go to the next level again and get some more specialists in at the practice, rebrand, make the practice look nicer, pushing private dentistry, trying to get that private pay as you earn, pay as you go level up. And then finally put it on the market for sale. And halfway through that, obviously, pandemic came, didn't it, in March 2020?
Yeah. What I'd probably say, though, is that all that kind of investment that you made into the systems in the practice and becoming a sales-led organization, it kind of made the pandemic irrelevant to your exit, though, didn't it? You know, you partnered up with one of the large corporates now. You know, don't know if you want to kind of share any kind of specifics of it, but what I can say is that you know, because of your investment, it kind of wasn't a problem. It was still right for you to do the right thing, and you know, there was no barrier to doing that, was there?
There wasn't, but I mean, obviously, initially through that first bit of the pandemic, no one knew how dentistry was going to go. You know, was it going to be a game changer in that, you know, when you're hearing a fallow time of an hour, or, you know, one dentist using 2 surgeries, well, that's immediately makes dentistry it's just non-viable business. Unless you're going to double the patient prices, which they're not going to be prepared to pay. No. You know, the dentist is seeing 50%, maybe even less of the numbers coming in. And it's just, you know, with the amount of outgoings that a dental practice has, it's just not going to be viable. But luckily, through June and July, we realized that that wasn't the case. And we managed to work around it. But initially, we were really worried, weren't we? We thought, this is going to be another 5-year project. You know, another 5 years of working hard and trying to find a way of making dentistry work again, but we luckily didn't have to do that, and the dentistry market was still buoyant, you know. So we went ahead.
Excellent. Do you have any predictions for the future of dentistry?
Well, we touched on it earlier. I think it's going to become more specialised, isn't it? You know, it's dentists. There are going to be your general dentists that, you know, do a little bit of everything, and you'll still have those dentists working. But I think in practices like ours, it is going to be more like, oh, would you like veneers? You go and see Declan because he does the veneers, and if you want implants, you go and see Deepam because he specialises in that. So I think I can see more of that happening.
Yeah.
So people are getting the best treatment.
Yeah.
I think the NHS is going to be a big issue. They're trying they're trying to change the way the UDAs are done. And I think they're worried because they've been saying they're changing it for 12 years and they still haven't decided on these pilots. And it's important that NHS dentistry exists for those people that just can't afford it. But I feel as though I get inklings that you're going to be looking at UDCs, universal, basically emergency centres for people in pain who need teeth out or teeth accessed for root canal. And it's going to be emergency dentistry only, maybe with a little bit on the side. I just can't see. I think what they want, the NHS, is, as with any NHS, they want more from the dentists for less money. And I think they want dentists earning less money because I don't see how they can pay for it, and dentists themselves don't go to university for 6 years to come out and earn a fairly average wage. They need to. That's probably why one of the reasons why they did dentistry was because the stress is high, but the pay is good.
Yeah.
And I just feel with the NHS wanting more for less, they're just going to want more hours and more patients seen for less salary.
Yeah.
So I just feel there's going to be an issue there.
I mean, anecdotally, we're seeing enough practices kind of convert away from it, even without this kind of pressure for more for less. I mean, I think there's the kind of, everyone kind of understands, I think it's coming, and so maybe they're kind of recalibrating their practice now. Well, this is a bit less pressure on things, but very difficult for me to see, economically, for me to see anything other than what you describe it there as an emergency. I mean, it's what happens in the medical sector. You have hospitals for emergencies, and anything else is, there's a thoroughly kind of vibrant insurance-based system for for medicine. I don't see why it wouldn't work something similar to that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do have dental insurance through their companies, or Simply Health is one.
Yeah.
You might find that depending on how much you earn as a person, they may say, look, we can get you out of pain from an NHS dentist, but then you have to find your own privately. I don't know. I mean, people say they pay their national insurance, but we all know that that's just not enough for what some people require, whether it's medical or dental, so, but, it's booming, isn't it? Cosmetic dentistry, everyone, especially the sort of sub under 40s, even the under 50s, having a nice set of teeth now is seen as kudos. It's seen as, if you've got a nice smile, straight white teeth, you're taking care of yourself. You're probably taking care of your education and your knowledge. And people, I think they read a lot into someone who's got a nice smile. And a smile is, people smile anyway. It changes the way the face is. So I think more and more emphasis is coming to having good oral health. Good oral health means normally good body health.
Yeah.
They want to live longer, and they want to live good quality life, don't they?
So you've definitely seen an increasing proportion of elective treatment in your practice then?
Oh yeah, massively. I mean, that's not just because that's what the public want, because we've, with the marketing as well, that we're driving into that area for our practice. But there's the new patient inquiries are just they're off the scale at the moment. We can't keep up. There's enough cosmetic and high-end dentistry out there for anyone who wants to get involved in it. Just go out and get trained. So you know what you're doing, basically.
Good stuff. Well, okay, last question. Who would you recommend Hive to?
I've recommended you to a few people, actually, a few of my friends who own their own dental practices, but also people who don't, people who are dentists. They earn a good wage. You've got some good tax advice for those dentists earning over a certain amount of money. People who have a practice which is potentially hitting underneath what they could earn. Maybe they've got a derelict room. You even provide advice for that, to say, look, you should get another dentist in there and increase your turnover. And I think, great advice about how to run a practice. I mean, how many practices do you have contact with currently?
I mean, it varies, with our level of involvement. I think we're probably closely working with about 20, but across our group, we probably got about 200, choosing a variety of bits and pieces, as you know, bits of the digital marketing creative, or the accountancy, or the tax, or
strategy.
helping people buy and sell. You know, there's plenty of people still buying and still selling at this moment in time.
Yes.
It's definitely kind of I think it's caused everyone to pause and reflect the last 12 months, and people want to take that next step, like say whether it's exiting practice ownership, or moving towards a retirement phase, or moving towards an asset accumulation phase, or simply taking that next step on their journey if they want to embrace owning and running a practice.
Yeah. Difficult to do on your own, I would say. Very difficult to do on your own, and practice dentistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Sorry?
Would you do it again?
Would I do it again? I probably wouldn't. No, not. I'm only 46. We've got 4 years. I'll be 50. I wouldn't go in and do it again. I don't think I would at this stage. It's a lot of hard work, isn't it?
Would you, back then, would you tell your younger self to?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't have wanted to work for anybody else, really. My dad always owned his own practices, and my brother has as well. And they talk about it. I know what it's like to work in as an associate, and I just felt it's best to run the practice the way you want to. But it would have been difficult on my own, and I think Declan would probably say the same. That to have two people there, if you're away on holiday, then he's not, or to bat stuff off. People ask tricky questions because when you're running a practice with 42 staff, actually running and keeping the staff happy is probably the most difficult thing, and not getting yourself in hot water.
Yeah.
And you guys were great with that, even batting off, issues with staff or between staff, anything like that. It's a whole,
or between brothers,
envelope of advice. Indeed. Absolutely. Luckily, we're brothers, so if there is an issue, we have it out and get on with it.
Yeah.
But he thinks differently to me, and that was good.
You're like the perfectly balanced Winklevoss twins of Essex, are you?
Winklevoss twins of Essex. I mean, I know they're into their crypto, those boys, but I'm not sure. I think they call us good cop, bad cop. I'm obviously the good cop. But having a good cop, bad cop is also good for business, I think.
Well, you did an amazing job with it, and congratulations on achieving what you did and moving into this phase. So well done, and thank you for joining us today, Stephen.
No problem. Thank you, Ross.
Cheers.